Winning the Inner Game of Real Estate: How High-Performing Agents Think, Lead, and Win. From the Inside Out. By Logan St. George. Copyright 2025. Mindset for realestatesuccess.com. Introduction. Becoming unshakable in an unpredictable business. Real estate demands courage. Not the loud kind. Not the motivational kind. Not the fire you up at a seminar kind. Real estate requires a quieter, deeper courage, the kind that keeps you moving when everything inside you wants to sit down and quit. Because this business will test you. It will test your confidence. It will test your patience. It will test your belief in yourself. It will test your ability to stay grounded when the world around you, or within you, feels out of control. Deals fall apart. Clients ghost you. The phone goes quiet at the worst time. Your pipeline rises and falls like a heartbeat. The market shifts without asking your permission. And while everyone talks about leads, strategies, scripts, systems, branding, and marketing, very few talk about the part of this business that matters most: your inner world. Because the truth is simple. You don't fail because of the market. You fail because of what the market awakens inside you. The doubt, the fear, the hesitation, the stories you tell yourself, the pressure you carry alone, the emotional swings you try not to show anyone, the quiet uncertainty that shows up right before you act. These are the real battles agents face, and these are the battles most agents try to push through alone. But top producers don't succeed because they have better scripts or better tools. They succeed because they have better inner frameworks. They've learned how to stay clear when things get chaotic, confident when things get uncertain, and grounded when emotions rise. They've mastered their inner game, and the outer game followed. This book is about that mastery, the part of the business no one sees. Before every phone call, every showing, every listing appointment, every negotiation, your inner world is already setting the tone. If your thoughts are scattered, your actions will be hesitant. If your emotions are running the show, your conversations will collapse. If your identity is small, your presence will shrink. If your fear is louder than your clarity, your momentum will evaporate. You can have the perfect strategy, the sharpest marketing, the strongest work ethic, and still sabotage your progress if the inner game is working against you. That's why agents with less skill often outperform agents with more experience. Because the inner world, not the toolbox, determines consistency, and consistency is the currency of real estate. You are the common denominator. Every market condition, every client, every negotiation, every listing appointment, every setback, every win, every loss, there is one constant: you. When you strengthen the person running the business, you strengthen every part of the business. That's what this book gives you: the tools to lead yourself before you lead anyone else. Clarity in moments of overwhelm, courage in moments of fear, steadiness in moments of pressure, resilience in moments of setback, identity in moments of doubt, discipline in moments of avoidance. These are not soft skills. These are success skills. Most training focuses on what to do. Very little training focuses on who you must become to do it consistently. But your thoughts shape your emotions. Your emotions shape your actions. Your actions shape your results. If you want different results, you must shift the place those results come from: your inner world. This book will show you how, not with cliches, not with hype, not with empty motivation, but with the real mental and emotional frameworks that top agents rely on every day, especially on the days when nothing goes right. Because the difference between the agent who rises and the agent who quits isn't talent or timing. It's the inner game. Read this book slowly, but apply it quickly. This is not a book you skim. It's a mirror, a reset, a recalibration, a transformation. As you read, you will recognize pieces of yourself: the fears you've carried, the stories you've believed, the cycles you've repeated, the pressure you felt alone, and you will learn how to rewrite them. The inner game is not abstract. It is practical, actionable, trainable, repeatable. And once you master it, you will walk into every room, every conversation, every appointment, every challenge, with a steadiness that clients feel, a clarity that sets you apart, and a confidence that no market can take from you. This is the beginning of a new way of working and a new way of being. Real estate doesn't get easier. You get stronger. Chapter 1. The truth about the inner game. Real estate is a business of constant motion. Calls, contracts, showings, negotiations, inspections, closings. It's loud, busy, and demanding. But the part of the business that determines your success, that part is quiet. It lives inside your head, long before a client ever sees you, before a conversation begins, before a decision is made. Most agents focus on the outer game: marketing, scripts, CRM systems, social media, postcards, branding, open houses. And all of that matters, but the outer game only works when the inner game is strong, because you can have perfect scripts and still freeze up when a seller challenges you. You can know your market inside and out and still doubt your value when you walk into a listing appointment. You can generate leads every day and still hesitate to follow up because you're afraid of hearing no. The inner game is the filter through which every action flows. If the filter is clear, you move with confidence. If the filter is cluttered, you second-guess everything. And nothing slows momentum more than doubt disguised as hesitation. The real competition isn't other agents. Every agent thinks the competition is the other agents in their city, the ones with billboards, radio ads, huge Facebook followings, polished branding, and teams of assistants. But the truth is, most agents never lose to other agents. They lose to their own thinking. They lose to the fear of being judged. They lose to the anxiety that shows up before they dial the phone. They lose to the belief that they're not good enough yet. They lose to the voice that says, "What if this doesn't work?" And when you lose that internal battle, the external world reflects it. Not because you're incapable, but because the inner game always determines what you try, how consistently you show up, and how fully you step into your value. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a mindset decision. And every successful agent you admire once stood exactly where you are, feeling the exact same doubts. Real estate is an emotional business. People don't tell you this at the start, but real estate is emotional. You're dealing with families, marriages, divorces, relocations, new beginnings, painful endings, financial pressure, and dreams people have held for decades. You're stepping into the most vulnerable moments of people's lives. And on top of that, you're navigating your own fears, your own financial pressure, your own need for certainty. That's why the inner game matters so much. Without emotional strength, the business overwhelms you. It's too easy to swing between confidence and panic, excitement and disappointment, optimism and fear. Top agents don't avoid emotion. They regulate it. They stay grounded when others escalate. They stay calm when the deal gets messy. They stay focused when everything feels like it's falling apart. And that steadiness comes from one place: their inner world. Your thoughts shape your results. This isn't hype. This isn't wishful thinking. There's a simple truth behind performance. Thoughts to emotions to actions to results. Before you ever pick up the phone, write an offer, walk into a listing appointment, or post a video online, your thoughts have already determined how you'll show up. If you're thinking, "I don't want to bother them. I'm not experienced enough. They'll pick someone else," your actions follow. You hesitate. You soften your voice. You play small. You hide your value. But if your thoughts shift to, "I can help them. My knowledge matters. I've earned my seat at the table. Everything changes. Your tone changes. Your posture changes. Your presence changes. Clients feel it immediately. The inner game shapes the energy you carry into every room, and clients respond to energy long before they respond to words. Why skills alone aren't enough. If success were based only on skill, the most educated agents would dominate the market. But that's not how this business works. Some of the highest earners didn't start with perfect knowledge. They started with the mindset to move, consistently, imperfectly, and without waiting to feel ready. Skill matters, market knowledge matters, education matters, but mindset determines whether you apply what you know. Because even the best strategy is useless if fear keeps your foot on the brake. This book is about releasing that brake. It's about giving you the mental frameworks, emotional tools, and personal clarity to show up as the strongest, most grounded version of yourself, not just once in a while, but every day. The inner game is your foundation. If you want to build a successful real estate career, this is where it begins. Your beliefs, your identity, your confidence, your resilience, your emotional steadiness, your ability to stay clear and intentional under pressure. When those pieces are strong, everything else falls into place. And when they're weak, the business feels impossible, no matter how hard you try. Winning the inner game isn't about becoming someone different. It's about removing everything that's been holding you back. The doubts, the fears, the limiting beliefs, the stories you've been telling yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. Once you clear those barriers, you don't have to force confidence. It rises naturally. And that's when the outer game, the scripts, the systems, the marketing, finally works the way it should. A new way forward. As you move through this book, you'll learn how to stay centered when clients get emotional, rise quickly from rejection, build inner confidence that doesn't depend on results, lead conversations with clarity and authority, create unstoppable momentum, align your actions with your best identity, succeed in any market, not because of luck, but because of mindset. This is where your transformation begins, not with a strategy, not with a script, not with a marketing tactic, but with the decision to win the part of the business that determines everything else, your inner game. Chapter 2. Fear is the first obstacle and the greatest teacher. Every agent starts with a dream: freedom, income, purpose, helping people, building a business that creates options and opportunity. But there's something else every agent starts with too: fear. No one talks about it openly, not at team meetings, not at training seminars, not in front of other agents who all look like they have it together. But fear is the first real hurdle in real estate, and it shows up long before your first client ever does. Fear is sitting beside you on the car ride to your first listing appointment. Fear is standing behind you when you're about to knock on a door. Fear is whispering to you when you're staring at your phone, knowing you need to follow up. Fear is in the silence between calls, between closings, between commission checks. Fear is the quiet voice that says, "What if I'm not good enough? What if I mess this up? What if they pick someone else? What if I fail?" Every agent hears the same questions. The difference between those who grow and those who quit is simple. They respond to fear differently. Fear isn't the enemy. Avoidance is. Most people try to eliminate fear. They try to silence it, push it away, hide it under busyness, or pretend it doesn't exist. But fear doesn't disappear when ignored. It grows heavier, louder, more convincing. What successful agents learn is this: fear doesn't stop you. Avoiding fear stops you. Avoid one call, then you avoid two. Avoid one tough conversation, and suddenly all difficult conversations feel bigger. Avoid the uncomfortable, and your confidence shrinks around the edges. The moment fear begins guiding your decisions, your potential begins shrinking. Not because you're incapable, but because fear is voting on your actions. And fear will always vote no. The real source of fear. Fear doesn't come from clients, deals, or the market. It comes from the stories you attach to those moments. A client says they're interviewing other agents too. I'm not good enough. A buyer goes silent. I must have done something wrong. A listing expires. I don't know what I'm doing. A deal falls apart. Everything is falling apart. Fear isn't based on reality. It's based on the meaning you give things. Two agents can experience the exact same situation. One thinks, this is proof I'm failing. The other thinks, this is temporary. I'll adjust and keep moving. Same event, different story, different results. Fear is never about the moment. It's about the meaning. Fear is information. Listen to it. Fear is rarely random. It points to something important, a skill you need to develop, a conversation you've been avoiding, a belief you need to update, a truth you haven't confronted, a story you've been telling yourself that needs rewriting. Fear is a flashlight. It shows you exactly where your next level is. If you fear the listing appointment, that's the next step. If you fear rejection, that's where confidence is built. If you fear making the call, that's where opportunity lives. Growth doesn't happen where you're comfortable. Growth happens where fear is loudest. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. Fear exists because your brain is wired to keep you safe. It doesn't care about success. It doesn't care about your goals, your dreams, or your potential. Your brain is always scanning for risk, rejection, embarrassment, loss, uncertainty. Not because it wants to stop you, but because it wants to protect you. Real estate exposes all of those things, which is why fear shows up so often. But you don't overcome fear by fighting your brain. You overcome fear by teaching your brain the truth. Uncertainty is part of the job. Rejection is part of the process. Discomfort is part of growth. Once your mind understands that discomfort doesn't equal danger, fear loses its power. Fear and courage are best friends. Most people think courage is the absence of fear. It isn't. Courage is fear. Walk through. You become courageous by doing the thing you're afraid of. Making the call. Asking for the business. Having the conversation. Booking the appointment. Standing your ground. Telling the client the truth, even when it's hard. Every act of courage teaches your mind, I can handle this. I survived it. I'm still standing. That wasn't as bad as I imagined. I did it, and I can do it again. Confidence is built on the other side of fear, not before it. The agents who win are not the agents without fear. They're the agents who learn to walk toward the discomfort. They make the call while afraid. They show up while nervous. They speak with uncertainty in their chest. They act before they feel ready. They move even when the outcome is unclear. Because they trust one thing. Fear doesn't predict failure. It points to the doorway of your next breakthrough. Your first job as an agent. Learn to work with fear. Fear is not the wall. Fear is the invitation. It's the starting line, not the stop sign. When you stop seeing fear as the signal to back away and start seeing it as the signal to lean in, everything changes. Your confidence changes. Your energy changes. Your presence changes. Your results change. You stop holding back. You stop shrinking. You stop negotiating with your potential. You stop letting fear write your story. And instead, you begin writing your own. Chapter 3. Rejection, failure, and the stories you tell yourself. Real estate will test you in ways you never expected. Not because it's complicated, but because it's personal. Every call, every meeting, every offer, every listing appointment feels like a small piece of you is on the line. And when things don't go your way, when someone chooses another agent, doesn't respond, or simply says no, it hits deeper than you want to admit. That's because rejection isn't just an outcome. It's an interpretation, and interpretations shape identity. Most people think rejection hurts because the client turned them down, but the truth is simpler and far more personal. Rejection hurts because of the story you attach to it. Rejection isn't personal, even when it feels like it is. Here's the truth agents rarely hear. When a client doesn't choose you, it's almost never about you. Sometimes they picked someone they knew longer. Sometimes they wanted a discount. Sometimes they chose the agent who called first. Sometimes they followed a relative's suggestion. Sometimes they weren't even ready to choose in the first place. Most of the time, rejection has nothing to do with your value, your skill, or your worth. But your mind doesn't process it that way. Your mind assumes, I'm not good enough. They didn't want me. I failed. I'm losing. Those conclusions feel true because they're emotional, not factual. And when emotion makes the decision, clarity disappears. The unseen damage of taking rejection personally. If rejection was just a moment, it would be easy. But rejection almost always becomes a story, and stories become beliefs, and beliefs shape behavior. When you interpret rejection in the worst possible way, you hesitate on future calls. You soften your voice. You apologize for your value. You play small. You avoid opportunities. You stop taking risks. You hide your confidence. You wait instead of act. You don't lose the deal. You lose your momentum. That's the real cost. Rejection doesn't break your career. Your interpretation of it does. Failure isn't final. It's data. Failure is built into this business. There is no version of real estate that doesn't include setbacks, disappointments, lost deals, or tough moments. You will lose listings, lose buyers, lose offers, lose clients, lose negotiations, lose momentum, lose confidence, lose situations you were sure you had. Not because you're unskilled, but because that's the nature of the work. What separates strong agents from struggling agents isn't their failure count, it's what they do with the failure. Most agents think, this setback proves I'm not good at this. But successful agents think, this setback shows me what to adjust. That shift changes everything. Failure becomes feedback. Rejection becomes information. Loss becomes clarity. You don't fear mistakes when you know everyone is teaching you the exact lesson you need for your next level. The story you tell yourself shapes your future. Your mind is always writing stories. Something happens, and instantly your brain creates meaning. They didn't choose me because I'm inexperienced. This deal fell apart because I'm not cut out for this. I must have looked nervous. That's why they ghosted me. I'm losing because other agents are better. But those stories are assumptions, not truths. And the danger of assumptions is simple. If you repeat an untrue story long enough, it becomes your identity. But here's the good news. If you can write one story, you can write a better one. You can shift. They didn't choose me. To, they weren't my match. I lost this listing. To, I learned something I'll apply next time. They ghosted me. To, they weren't ready today. But I stay consistent. This deal fell apart. To, deals fall apart. I stay steady. I'm failing. To, I'm learning. This is not toxic positivity. It's accurate thinking. It's refusing to let fear create the narrative. Rejection builds the emotional strength you need. Every rejection strengthens something inside you. Resilience, determines, self-trust, professional identity, thick skin, emotional intelligence. Every disappointment adds another layer of grit. Every no builds capacity for more yeses. Every moment that hurts shapes you into a steadier version of yourself. Rejection is not the opposite of success. It is the preparation for it. There is no path to becoming a strong agent that doesn't pass through the doors of rejection and failure. Those doors shape you. Those doors reveal you. Those doors refine you. And eventually, those doors open into a future you could never reach without them. The agents who win rewrite the story immediately. The moment something goes wrong, strong agents don't spiral, catastrophize, blame themselves, hide, shut down, stop taking action. They take a breath. They take inventory. They take responsibility only for what's theirs, nothing more. Then they rewrite the meaning. This is a setback, not a verdict. This is temporary. This isn't who I am. It's what happened. I can learn from this. I can move forward now. They don't wait for confidence to return. They rebuild it through action. They don't wait for motivation. They generate it through clarity. They don't trust the emotional story. They trust the truth. You don't need fewer rejections. You need stronger interpretations. Every agent you admire has a long trail of failures behind them. Failed calls, failed meetings, failed listings, failed offers, failed follow-ups, failed seasons. What makes them successful is not their lack of failure. It's their ability to interpret failure in a way that keeps them moving. The question isn't, how do I avoid rejection? The real question is, how do I respond when it happens? Because it will happen. Often, unexpectedly, in streaks. On days you feel confident, on days you feel fragile. You don't control the rejection, you control the meaning. And the meaning you choose will shape the agent you become. Chapter 4. Clarity creates confidence. Most agents think confidence is built through experience. The more you learn, the more confident you become. But that's not how confidence works. Confidence doesn't come from knowledge. Confidence comes from clarity. When you know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you'll move through the day, you feel grounded. You feel steady. You feel in control. But when you're unfocused, overwhelmed, or scattered, everything feels harder than it should. You hesitate. You overthink. You procrastinate. You second-guess yourself. You talk yourself out of action. Not because you're incapable, but because uncertainty smothers momentum. Clarity is the antidote. When your mind is clear, your actions flow. When your actions flow, your confidence grows. Clarity removes the weight you didn't know you were carrying. Most agents are overwhelmed, not because they're doing too much, but because they're thinking about too much. Their mind is filled with leads they haven't followed up with, conversations they've been avoiding, tasks they haven't completed, calls they need to make, problems they haven't solved, future scenarios they can't predict, worries they keep replaying. The mental clutter becomes emotional clutter, and emotional clutter becomes hesitation. Hesitation always turns into self-doubt. When your mind is messy, everything becomes heavier. But clarity cuts through the noise. It lightens you. It frees your energy. It sharpens your decision-making. It makes the path forward obvious. And obvious paths create natural confidence. Most agents don't need more motivation. They need more structure. Motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls with emotion, weather, sleep, wins, losses, and random events you can't control. Structure, on the other hand, removes decision fatigue. It calms your nervous system. It gives you direction when your mind wants to spiral. A clear structure says, this is what I do. This is when I do it. This is how I show up. When you no longer waste mental energy deciding what to do, you suddenly have the bandwidth to actually do it. This creates consistency. Consistency creates progress. Progress creates confidence. Structure isn't boring. Structure is liberating. Clarity turns pressure into purpose. Pressure comes from not knowing what to do next. When clients panic, you feel pressure. When a deal unravels, you feel pressure. When your pipeline goes quiet, you feel pressure. When you're behind on calls or paperwork, you feel pressure. But clarity turns pressure into purpose. Clarity says, here is the next step. Now take it. Instead of seeing the whole mountain, you see the next foothold. Instead of being overwhelmed by the entire day, you focus on one conversation. Instead of worrying about next month, you focus on today. Clarity simplifies the complex, and simplicity is powerful. When you're clear, clients feel it. Clients don't choose the smartest agent, they choose the clearest one. Confidence isn't loud. Confidence is certain. Clients can tell instantly when an agent knows their process, knows how to handle problems, knows how to communicate, knows how to lead, knows what to do next. Clarity creates authority. Authority creates trust. Trust creates loyal clients, stronger referrals, and smoother transactions. When you're clear, people feel safe with you. When you're unclear, people feel uneasy, even if they can't articulate why. Your clarity shapes their confidence. Clarity isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing enough to act. Most agents get stuck because they think clarity means certainty. It doesn't. Clarity doesn't say, I know exactly how this will turn out. Clarity says, I know my next step, and I trust myself to handle whatever follows. Big difference. You don't need perfect answers to move forward. You need enough clarity to take the first step. Confidence is not built by knowing the outcome. It's built by trusting your ability to navigate the outcome. That trust begins with clarity. 3 types of clarity every agent needs. 1. Clarity of intention. Why am I doing this? What matters most today? What is the purpose behind my actions? When intention is clear, distractions lose their power. 2. Clarity of process. What are my daily non-negotiables? What tasks move my business forward? What steps do I take in each part of a transaction? When process is clear, overwhelm disappears. 3. Clarity of identity. Who am I as an agent today? How do I show up? What version of myself am I committed to being? When identity is clear, confidence becomes natural. These 3 levels of clarity form the foundation of a strong inner game. Clarity is a practice, not a personality trait. Some agents think clarity is something people are born with. It's not. Clarity is something you create. Every morning, every task, every decision, every conversation, every moment you choose to simplify instead of complicate. Clarity is built by asking yourself, what actually matters right now? The moment you answer that question honestly, drama disappears and direction returns. The gift of clarity is momentum. Momentum doesn't come from perfection. It comes from direction. When you're clear, you take action. When you take action, you feel progress. When you feel progress, you feel confident. When you feel confident, you take more action. This loop becomes your engine, an engine built not on hype, but on clarity. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates consistency. Consistency creates results. Everything you want in real estate begins with the ability to clear your mind, simplify your path, and move with purpose. And clarity is the tool that makes it possible. Chapter 5. Emotional Mastery in High-Pressure Moments. Real estate isn't hard because of the contracts, the negotiations, or the paperwork. Those are manageable. You can learn them, practice them, and master them. What makes real estate hard is far simpler. Real estate is emotional. Not just for your clients, for you. It's a business built on uncertainty, high stakes, tight timelines, and constantly shifting outcomes. You're not dealing with products. You're dealing with people in some of the most stressful, life-changing moments they'll ever experience. And the truth most agents don't say out loud is this: sometimes the biggest emotional storms are happening inside you. When your client is panicking, when a deal is falling apart, when a negotiation gets messy, when your pipeline goes quiet, when your financial pressure rises, when you haven't had a win in weeks, when everything feels like it's hitting at once, your inner world gets loud. This chapter is about reclaiming control in those moments, not by suppressing emotion, but by mastering it. You can't control the market, but you can control your state. There are only three things you truly control in real estate: your thoughts, your responses, your emotional state. Everything else, the market, the rates, the offers, the inventory, clients' decisions, lives outside your control. Agents get burned out because they spend emotional energy on what they cannot influence. But the most successful agents learn a simple truth: the calmer you are internally, the more influence you have externally. Calm agents negotiate better. Calm agents communicate clearer. Calm agents earn trust faster. Calm agents handle stress with precision. Your emotional state becomes your most valuable skill. Emotions are signals, not commands. Most agents treat emotions as instructions. I feel overwhelmed. I should stop. I feel nervous. I shouldn't call. I feel upset. I should react. I feel pressured. I should panic. But emotions are not commands. They are signals. They tell you something needs attention, something needs adjusting, something needs clarity, something needs to be addressed, something needs to be understood. When you stop obeying emotions and start listening to them, everything changes. You shift from reacting to responding, from spiraling to stabilizing, from reactivity to leadership. High-pressure situations don't create anxiety, they reveal it. Pressure doesn't create your emotional patterns, it exposes them. If you tend to overthink, rush, doubt yourself, apologize excessively, take responsibility for everything, avoid conflict, shut down under stress, pressure will amplify those tendencies. But this isn't a flaw, it's insight. Pressure reveals exactly where your inner game needs strengthening. You're not being tested to break you. You're being shown where you can grow. The 3-second reset. Pause, to breathe, to lead. In moments when adrenaline hits and your mind starts racing, you don't need a motivational speech. You need a reset, a short one, a simple one. One that works in the middle of a tense negotiation or a shocking client phone call. Pause. Interrupt the emotional spiral. Breathe. Tell your nervous system you're safe. Lead. Choose your response instead of reacting. This 3-second reset gives you the ability to regain control of your tone, presence, and clarity fast. The highest performers don't avoid pressure. They recover faster inside it. Your presence is more powerful than your words. Most clients don't remember everything you said. They remember how they felt around you. They remember your steadiness when they were overwhelmed. They remember your confidence when they were scared. They remember your calm voice when everything felt chaotic. They remember your clarity when the situation was confusing. Your emotional mastery becomes their emotional safety. When you're calm, they settle. When you're grounded, they trust. When you're steady, they follow your lead. Your presence is your greatest tool. Don't absorb their stress. Redirect it. Clients will bring emotion to the table: fear, frustration, panic, disappointment, impatience, anger, anxiety. You cannot absorb all of that without burning out. Your job is not to carry their emotions, it's to translate them. When a client says, "This is taking too long," you hear, "I'm scared this won't work." When a client snaps, "Why didn't they accept our offer?" you hear, "I'm afraid of losing this home." When a seller demands, "We need more showings," you hear, "I'm stressed about money." You respond to the emotion beneath the emotion. That's emotional leadership, and it builds trust faster than any market knowledge. You don't need to feel strong to be strong. Most agents wait to feel confident before acting confident. But confidence doesn't start with emotion. It starts with behavior. You can look calm while feeling anxious, speak clearly while feeling unsure, negotiate well while feeling nervous, lead strongly while feeling pressure. Strength isn't the absence of emotion. Strength is the ability to move with purpose, regardless of emotion. You don't erase fear, you override it. Mastering high-pressure moments is the key to longevity. When you can stay steady while others panic, when you can think clearly while others shut down, when you can remain focused while everything feels uncertain, you become the agent people trust with their biggest decisions. Emotional mastery is your long-term advantage. It's what keeps you grounded in chaos, clear in confusion, and confident in uncertainty. And this is how you win the inner game. Not by avoiding pressure, but by learning how to stay yourself inside it. Chapter 6. Conversations that convert. Real estate is built on conversations. Not marketing, not branding, not technology. Conversations. Every appointment, every showing, every negotiation, every lead call, every listing presentation. It all comes down to your ability to connect, communicate, and lead another human being through uncertainty toward a decision. That's why the inner game matters so much here, because conversations break down when emotions take over. When you're nervous, your voice tightens. When you're insecure, your tone softens. When you're unsure, you over-explain. When you're overthinking, you ramble. When you doubt your value, you fail to lead. Clients don't respond to scripts. They respond to energy. And your energy in a conversation is shaped by one thing: your mindset in the moments before you speak. Conversations aren't about being smooth. They're about being steady. There is a myth in real estate that top agents are natural talkers, charismatic, witty, charming, effortlessly confident. But the truth is simple. People don't follow the most charming voice. People follow the most certain one. Certainty isn't loud. Certainty isn't flashy. Certainty isn't dramatic. Certainty is calm, grounded, clear, steady. When you're steady in a conversation, your presence does the work. The client isn't listening to your words. They're reading your state. Most agents think clients are analyzing their words for accuracy or intelligence, but clients are actually scanning for confidence, clarity, competence, calm, certainty, leadership. Clients aren't wondering if you know everything. They're wondering, do I feel safe with this person leading me through the largest financial decision of my life? You answer that question with your emotional state, not your vocabulary. Your tone speaks louder than your language. Your presence speaks louder than your resume. Your certainty speaks louder than any script. The inner game before the outer conversation. What happens inside your mind in the 5 to 10 seconds before you speak determines everything. If the thought is, "I hope they like me," your tone will shrink. If the thought is, "I don't want to lose this client," you'll sound hesitant. If the thought is, "I'm not sure what to say," you'll overtalk. But if your thought is, "I know how to help them," your voice carries confidence. If your thought is, "I've earned my seat at this table," your posture straightens. If your thought is, "I can handle whatever comes up," your energy becomes calm and strong. Confidence isn't delivered during the conversation. It's created before the conversation starts. Authority comes from clarity, not force. You don't need to dominate a conversation to lead it. You don't need to sound aggressive or overpowering. You don't need to bulldoze your client with facts. True authority is felt when you speak with calm confidence. You simplify complexity. You remove emotion from the moment. You give clear direction without pressure. You explain options without panic. You stay steady when the client becomes emotional. People feel safe with someone who is calm, clear, and certain. That is leadership, and leadership converts. Asking better questions builds trust faster than perfect answers. You don't need to know everything. You need to understand everything. And the only way to do that is by asking powerful, grounded questions. What is your biggest concern right now? What outcome are you hoping for? What matters most to you in this process? What would make this feel like a win for you? What's the real hesitation here? What do you need to feel confident in moving forward? These questions do three things. They reveal emotion. They reveal motivation. They reveal obstacles. And once you know those three things, the path becomes obvious. Agents who ask better questions understand clients better. Agents who understand their clients better convert more consistently. Don't fill the space. Own the space. Nervous agents rush to fill silence. Strong agents understand silence is a tool. Silence allows clients to think, emotions to settle, clarity to rise, truth to surface, trust to deepen. When you're comfortable with silence, you communicate strength. When you can sit in a pause without panicking, clients lean in. Silence is not lack of confidence. Silence is confidence. Your calm is contagious. When clients feel unsure, they mirror your energy. If you're anxious, they feel it. If you're defensive, they feel it. If you're uncertain, they sense it. But when you speak with steady, calm certainty, their heart rate slows, their fear settles, their trust grows, their resistance softens. Your emotional regulation becomes their emotional guidance. That's what creates conversion. Not magic words, not clever lines, not scripts you've memorized. What converts is how your presence makes people feel. And people follow those who make them feel safe. When you lead the conversation, you win the relationship. Leading doesn't mean controlling. Leading means guiding. It means taking emotional responsibility for the moment. It means showing clients the path through the overwhelm. It means helping them see clearly when their fear distorts reality. Leading is communicating, I'm with you. I understand. I've got this. Here's our next step. When clients feel led, not pressured, they relax into trust, and trust converts almost every time. The inner game of communication is simple. Be clear, be calm, be certain. When you enter a conversation with clarity, calm, and certainty, you speak fewer words. You communicate more clearly. You reduce tension. You build trust faster. You deepen rapport. You gain authority. You convert more consistently. You don't need to be a perfect talker. You just need to be a steady leader. The inner game makes that possible. Chapter 7. Identity drives action. Every agent wants better results. More listings, more closings, more momentum, more consistency, more confidence, more income. But here's the truth. Most people never consider. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. Your identity, the story you believe about who you are, determines what actions you take, what risks you lean into, what conversations you initiate, what boundaries you hold, and what standards you maintain. You can force action for a while. You can rely on motivation for a while. You can push yourself through fear for a while. But eventually, you'll always revert to the identity you trust most. That's why the inner game is not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming the truest, strongest version of who you already are. Identity isn't who you are. It's who you think you are. Most agents never question the identity running their career. They think, I'm new, I'm inexperienced, I'm struggling, I'm inconsistent, I'm not good on the phone, I'm bad at video, I'm not a natural salesperson, I'm not confident, I'm not enough. Those aren't truths. They're identities formed from past experiences, old stories, and outdated beliefs. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. Results reinforce identity. It's a loop. And the only way to change your results is to break the identity loop. Your actions will never outperform your self-image. If you see yourself as uncertain, you will hesitate. If you see yourself as unprepared, you will procrastinate. If you see yourself as unworthy, you will play small. If you see yourself as a beginner, you will act like one. If you see yourself as an outsider, you will hold back. Your self-image dictates your limits, not your skill, not the market, not the competition. You can have the perfect script, the perfect follow-up plan, the perfect listing presentation. But if your identity doesn't match your ambition, you will sabotage your own progress. Not intentionally, not consciously, but automatically. Because you can't consistently act in a way that contradicts who you believe you are. Identity isn't fixed, it's chosen. Most people think identity is something they inherit. This is just how I am. But identity is something you build through repetition. Every time you take an action aligned with your future, your identity shifts. Every time you make the uncomfortable call, finish the task you wanted to avoid, speak with confidence, follow through, set a boundary, hold your standard, take a risk, choose courage over comfort, you're casting a vote for who you are becoming. Identity is built through alignment, and alignment is built through action. The strongest agents don't act from emotion. They act from identity. Emotions are inconsistent. Some days you feel motivated. Some days you don't. Some days you feel confident. Some days you don't. Some days you feel unstoppable. Some days you feel invisible. But identity is stable. Identity says, this is who I am, and this is how I show up, regardless of how I feel. When you act from identity instead of emotion, you become more consistent. You become more reliable. You become more disciplined. You become more resilient. You stop negotiating with yourself. Emotion follows action. Action follows identity. When you get the identity right, everything else becomes easier. Identity creates standards, and standards create outcomes. Agents with a weak identity have weak standards. They allow excuses. They avoid discomfort. They break their own commitments. They let fear determine their schedule. They allow inconsistency to become normal. Agents with a strong identity don't need motivation. They operate from personal standards. I make my calls. I take the meeting. I follow up. I stay ready. I show up with confidence. I don't quit when it gets hard. I hold my boundaries. I lead the conversation. I own my value. They don't rise to the occasion. They return to their standards. Standards built from identity. Your identity needs to match the level of success you're trying to reach. If you want to earn more, you need the identity of someone who believes they deserve more, believes they can handle more, believes they can serve at a higher level, believes they bring value, believes they are capable. If you want more opportunities, you need the identity of someone who shows up, speaks up, follows through, stays consistent, takes initiative. If you want more confidence, you need the identity of someone who faces fear, welcomes feedback, embraces growth, leads conversations, trusts their skill set. Your identity must rise before your results do. Identity is a decision, not a destination. Many agents think identity changes after they achieve success. When I make more money, I'll feel confident. When I get more listings, I'll feel credible. When I get more wins, I'll feel like a top agent. But that's backward. You don't become confident after success. You become successful because you adopted the identity of a confident agent. Identity leads results, not the other way around. The moment you decide to believe something different about yourself, your emotional world shifts. And when your emotional world shifts, your actions transform. And when your actions transform, your results rise. Identity is the beginning, not the end. The identity shift that changes everything. The shift is simple. Stop seeing yourself as who you've been and start seeing yourself as who you're becoming. Act according to that identity today, not someday. The inner game becomes unstoppable when your identity aligns with your future, not your past. When you stop identifying with struggle and start identifying with strength, everything in your business changes. Your voice changes, your posture changes, your energy changes, your confidence changes, your consistency changes, your results change. That's the power of identity. Chapter 8. Momentum, motivation, and the discipline to keep moving. If there's one thing every agent struggles with, no matter their experience level, production level, or personality, it's consistency. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates results. But staying consistent in real estate is one of the hardest parts of the business, because this industry doesn't give you predictable structure. There's no guaranteed schedule, no guaranteed income, no predictable flow of clients, no safety nets. One good month can be followed by silence. 3 wins can be followed by 3 setbacks. A wave of momentum can be followed by a dry spell. Real estate moves in rhythms, and the agents who understand this stay calm, steady, and focused, even when the rhythm slows, because they know momentum isn't magic. Momentum is built, momentum is maintained, momentum is protected, and it's built through something far more important than motivation: discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. Motivation is unreliable. It shows up when things feel good and disappears the moment uncertainty enters the room. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation says, I feel like doing this. Discipline says, I do this because it's who I am. Motivation fades under pressure. Discipline expands under pressure. Agents who rely on motivation are inconsistent. Agents who rely on discipline are unstoppable. Momentum comes from doing the things you don't feel like doing. Every day there are tasks you want to do, and tasks you avoid because they feel uncomfortable. The uncomfortable tasks are always the ones that move your business forward. Making that follow-up call, asking the harder question, settling the boundary, sending the video message, walking into the appointment, posting the content, calling the lead back, handling the tough conversation. Momentum loves discomfort. Every time you take action while uncomfortable, momentum builds. Every time you avoid discomfort, momentum breaks. Most agents lose momentum not from failure, but from avoidance. Avoidance kills progress. Avoidance drains confidence. Avoidance destroys consistency. Momentum grows every time you lean in instead of lean out. Small actions, repeated, create big shifts. Agents often think momentum comes from big wins, big listings, big closings, big breakthroughs. But momentum rarely comes from big things. Momentum comes from the small daily habits, the tiny decisions, the little commitments, the consistent follow-through, the actions nobody sees. It's the call you make when you don't feel like it. It's the task you finish even when tired. It's the message you send even when nervous. It's the appointment you take even when afraid. Those small actions compound, and compounding creates unstoppable momentum. Momentum is emotional energy in motion. Momentum isn't just about activity, it's about emotional direction. When you're in momentum, you feel clear, focused, confident, purposeful, capable, steady, proactive. When you lose momentum, you feel scattered, anxious, overwhelmed, reactive, unsure, exhausted, stuck. Nothing is wrong with you when momentum slips, but something needs attention. Momentum is a signal that your inner game is aligned. Lack of momentum is a signal that something inside is off. You don't fix momentum by forcing action. You fix momentum by restoring clarity. Momentum doesn't require speed. It requires direction. Some agents think momentum means moving fast, but speed isn't momentum. Direction is momentum. You can move slowly and still build momentum. You can move quickly and lose momentum if the direction is wrong. Momentum doesn't ask, how fast are you moving? Momentum asks, are you moving with intention? Slow, consistent, intentional action beats fast, chaotic action every time. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is freedom. People think discipline limits them. In reality, discipline frees you. Discipline frees you from overthinking, decision fatigue, procrastination, emotional spirals, inconsistency, self-doubt, chaos. Discipline gives your mind structure. Structure reduces stress. Reduced stress increases clarity. Clarity increases confidence. Confidence increases action. Action increases momentum. Discipline is the foundation of a calm, confident inner world. The identity-discipline loop. Identity creates discipline. Discipline reinforces identity. When you see yourself as a consistent agent, you act consistently. When you act consistently, you see yourself as reliable. When you see yourself as reliable, you show up stronger. When you show up stronger, momentum grows. This loop becomes your greatest advantage. Not luck, not timing, not market conditions. Identity to discipline, to momentum, to confidence, to action, to results. The inner game made visible. Your future as an agent depends on one inner decision. Not, am I motivated today? But, will I act in alignment with who I'm becoming? Discipline doesn't require perfection. Discipline requires intention. Momentum doesn't require massive action. Momentum requires consistent action. You don't build the career you want through occasional heroic efforts. You build it through daily, deliberate steps in the direction of your future. Momentum is not an accident. Momentum is a choice. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, over fear, over excuses, you strengthen your inner game and move closer to the agent you're becoming. Chapter 9. Resilience, your most valuable real estate skill. Real estate rewards skill, but it depends on resilience. Skill helps you win opportunities. Resilience helps you survive the losses. Skill helps you close deals. Resilience helps you rebuild when deals collapse. Skill helps you communicate. Resilience helps you stay grounded when emotions run high. Skill matters deeply, but skill alone won't carry you through the inevitable setbacks, disappointments, and unpredictable swings that shape this business. The agents who last, the agents who grow, the agents who win over time, are the agents who refuse to break when the pressure rises. Resilience is the inner strength that keeps you moving when everything feels heavy. Real estate will knock you down. It's not personal. Even the strongest agents get blindsided. Deals fall apart hours before closing. Buyer's financing collapses. A seller chooses another agent. Clients ghost you after promising loyalty. A perfect offer gets rejected. A dream listing goes to someone else. A slow season lasts longer than expected. None of these things mean you're failing. None of these things mean you're unqualified. None of these things mean you're losing your touch. It means you're in real estate. Resilience begins when you stop taking the business personally. You can learn from it. You can adjust to it. But you cannot let it define you. Resilience isn't built during the wins. It's built during the losses. Wins feel good, but they don't build resilience. Wins build confidence. Losses build resilience. Losses force you to regroup, reassess, recommit, rebuild, recover. Resilience grows every time you get up one more time than you thought you could. Every time you keep going when your emotions want to shut down. Every time you show up when your confidence is shaky. Every time you take the next step when the last step didn't go your way. That's where resilience lives, in the moments you earn your strength. Resilience is a decision long before it's a capability. Most people think resilience comes naturally to some and not to others. That's false. Resilience is not an inherent skill. It's a chosen one. It starts with a decision. I will not stay down. I will not quit here. I will not let this moment define me. I will rise again. Every agent has that moment. The moment where doubt feels louder than determination. The resilient agents choose determination anyway. Your nervous system needs recovery, not perfection. When you're under constant pressure, your body tightens, your thoughts speed up, your clarity dims, your patience shortens, your confidence dips. Resilience doesn't ignore that. Resilience responds to it. Resilience says, I need a breath. I need space. I need clarity. I need rest. Let me reset before I move forward. Strong agents are not the ones who push themselves to exhaustion. Strong agents are the ones who know when to recover and then rise with more focus. Rest is a resilience strategy, not a weakness. Resilience is built through emotional honesty. You cannot be resilient if you lie to yourself about how you feel. Resilience doesn't require perfection. Resilience requires truth. Truth like, that loss hurt. That conversation shook me. That listing mattered. That month was hard. That setback rattled my confidence. When you're honest with yourself, you position yourself to heal. When you suppress your emotions, you prolong the struggle. Resilience is emotional strength, not emotional numbness. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be relentless. Fear shows up. Doubt shows up. Disappointments show up. Pressure shows up. But resilient agents keep going. Not because they're fearless, but because fear doesn't get the final vote. They make the call anyway. They take the appointment anyway. They follow up anyway. They stay visible anyway. They trust themselves anyway. Resilience is built in the anyway. Resilience turns setbacks into setup. For weaker agents, a setback becomes a stop sign. For resilient agents, a setback becomes a signal. There's something to learn here. There's something to strengthen here. There's something to fix here. There's something to refine here. Resilient agents turn adversity into advantage. They use setbacks as setups for future wins. That's not optimism. That's strategy. The strongest agents don't avoid hard seasons. They outlast them. Every agent will face a season where the phone goes quiet. The market shifts. Clients hold back. Inventory dries up. Deals fall through. Confidence dips. Progress stalls. Most agents panic during these seasons. Resilient agents prepare. They see it as a cycle, not a verdict. They stay consistent, steady, calm, visible, focused, grounded, intentional. They know slow seasons are temporary, and temporary seasons are survivable. Resilience is what carries you through them. Resilience is your competitive edge. Most agents quit too early. Most agents shut down too quickly. Most agents lose momentum too often. Most agents let doubt interrupt their progress. Most agents interpret setbacks as proof they're failing. But the resilient agent keeps going. Not because the path is easy, but because the result is worth it. Resilience allows you to outlast the noise, outlast the market, outlast the competition, outlast the setbacks, outlast the seasons, outlast the doubt. When you're resilient, you become the agent who is still standing when others have stepped aside. And that alone creates opportunities most people will never see. Chapter 10. Winning from the inside out. Success in real estate doesn't start with a strategy, a script, a marketing plan, or a stack of leads. Success starts inside you. Before you win listings, you win your thoughts. Before you win clients, you win your confidence. Before you win deals, you win your inner world. Everything you've learned in this book, clarity, courage, identity, resilience, emotional mastery, steady leadership, and the discipline to keep moving, has been leading to this chapter. Because the truth is simple. When you win the inner game, the outer game becomes easier, smoother, and far more aligned. You stop forcing success. You start attracting it. You stop reacting to circumstances. You start responding with intention. You stop chasing clients. You start leading them. You stop doubting yourself. You start trusting yourself. You stop negotiating with your potential. You step into it. Winning from the inside out doesn't mean life gets easy. It means you get stronger. The inner game shapes every outer result. Everything you do in real estate flows from your inner world. When your mind is clear, your marketing is confident. When your emotions are steady, your conversations convert. When your identity is strong, your presence is powerful. When your fear is understood, your courage expands. When your resilience is deep, your setbacks don't stop you. When your discipline is consistent, your momentum builds. You don't need perfection. You need alignment. And alignment begins inside. You become unstoppable when your inner world no longer depends on your outer circumstances. Most agents allow external circumstances to dictate their internal state. If a client compliments them, they feel confident. If an offer is accepted, they feel successful. If they sign a listing, they feel valuable. If the market is active, they feel hopeful. If their pipeline dries up, they feel anxious. If a deal collapses, they feel defeated. This is a fragile way to live and an exhausting way to work. Winning the inner game means reversing the flow. Your inner world shapes your outer results, not the other way around. Instead of confidence coming from wins, wins come from confidence. Instead of clarity coming from circumstances, circumstances respond to clarity. Instead of calm coming from everything going right, everything goes right because you remain calm. This is how top agents maintain consistency in inconsistent markets. They lead from the inside. When you strengthen the inner game, you expand your capacity. Real estate rewards capacity, the ability to handle more without breaking. As your inner game grows, so does your capacity for tougher negotiations, higher value clients, busier schedules, larger goals, more responsibility, higher emotional stakes. When your inner world strengthens, you stop getting overwhelmed by things that once rattled you. What used to shake you becomes manageable. What used to scare you becomes normal. What used to feel impossible becomes routine. Your capacity expands, naturally, quietly, powerfully. Success becomes sustainable when it's internal, not external. External success is temporary. Internal success is repeatable. When your inner game is strong, fear loses its grip. Doubt loses its volume. Pressure loses its weight. Rejection loses its sting. Uncertainty loses its power. And you show up as your best self, consistently. Not because the market is easy, not because clients are perfect, not because everything goes smoothly, but because you lead from the inside out. You bring strength to the situation instead of requiring the situation to be strong for you. That's how leaders lead. That's how confidence grows. That's how careers last. Your future success begins with one daily practice. The inner game is not won once. It's won daily. Not through huge breakthroughs, but through small, consistent choices. A clear intention in the morning, a steady breath in a stressful moment, a courageous action taken despite fear, a follow-up done when you didn't feel like it, a boundary held with confidence, a story rewritten after a setback, a moment of clarity before a conversation, a decision made from identity, not emotion. These small wins build a powerful inner world, and that world becomes your advantage. In every market, every season, every cycle, every challenge. You are not the same agent who started this book. You understand yourself better. You understand your thoughts better. You understand your emotions better. You understand your identity better. You understand your power better. You've learned that the real battle is internal, and you've begun to win it. When you choose clarity over confusion, courage over fear, identity over insecurity, discipline over comfort, and resilience over discouragement, you become unstoppable. Not because the path is smooth, but because you are steady. Not because the market is easy, but because your mind is strong. Not because you never fall, but because you always rise. This is the inner game. This is the foundation. This is the shift. This is the advantage. And now, you have it. Winning from the inside out isn't a destination. It's your new way of moving through the world. When your inner world is steady, your outer world aligns. And everything you've ever wanted to build in this business begins with what you build inside yourself.